Greetings ladies and gentlefish, and welcome to another World of Tanks video. This time we're having a look at a couple of my games. We're rolling it down the tiers and we're going to have a look at some low tier gift tanks. So this is my second account, for those who don't know, Bane of Gerbils. I know, I am so imaginative with my naming conventions. And we're here driving the Toldi 3, which for anyone who doesn't know was the tier 3 gift tank, I believe at Christmas 2015 if memory serves. Everyone got one of these as long as you logged in between some particular times over the Christmas period, and I ended up playing a few games of this on my second account. And generally speaking, this is not a particularly well liked machine. In fact, I mean, basically it's a generic tier 3 light tank with a pretty woeful gun. The aiming stats on this gun suck. The reload on this gun really sucks when you consider how much damage it actually does. But there we go. So we are here on the Malinovka map. And this is a tier 4 game. So we're not top tier, but it's not a tier 5 game. We're not bottom tier, which is important. And as you can see, on this account, I haven't even bothered giving this tank any ammunition other than armor piercing, and I haven't bothered giving it any consumables. For those interested, the gun is basically the same as the British 2-pounder in terms of stats. You get about 45 damage, something like 64, 65 average penetration. The accuracy is the reload is pretty terrible. I mean, what's laughable is that the gun on this tier 3 machine is worse than the 2-pounder gun found on the British tier 2s, and that's kind of a bit daft, but there we go. So far we've managed to pick up 1 kill on that rather ambitious Cruiser Mark IV, and put a little bit of damage downrange into a tank over yonder. Playing this a little bit cautiously, the problem with Malinovka as a map is that it can be really, really campy. Now you can see there's a bunch of guys who've rushed over from our team into sort of the K1 position. That can have some success. Yes, I did just bounce off of the flank of an LT-38, but there we go. So yeah, the map can be a little bit campy, and I'm basically being a bit campy with it, and I make absolutely no apologies about that. Trying to put shots downrange. I'm not top tier. I can die very quickly to things like the Hetzer or a Valentine AT or something like that. And at this point we're just going to move up. Like I said, our team, including a Matilda, has actually managed to trundle over to the enemy base. And I'm going to use this opportunity to push up with my friends over here. Now the Toldi does get reasonable gun depression when all's said and done, so it's not all terrible, but yeah, it's not great. And there's that reload. He actually manages to put another shot into me before I even reload the damned gun. Backing off because I don't want to get shot by all of his little friends, and then seeing if I can put shots into that Panzer III. Probably not, because he's backed off, and this gun is not especially accurate. I should also probably mention that I'm pretty sure the crew I'm using in this Toldi isn't the best when I'm playing this game, so do bear that in mind. The crew is... I can't remember exactly what percentage they were, but they weren't fantastic. So, scoreline is 8-5. We do have the advantage in this game, and we are all over their base. However, that doesn't mean they can't win, and that certainly doesn't mean that they can't still kill me. Putting shots downrange into this Panzer IIIA. I'm not bothering with the Matilda because my shots into the Matilda would just keep bouncing. Set the Panzer III on fire. Bounce that shot, but it doesn't matter. We managed to pick up the kill regardless. Have a blind shot at that Matilda, but it's going to be very difficult for me to penetrate him with my standard AP rounds. And I don't have any premium rounds, and even if I did, the premium rounds are also still pretty terrible. I can, however, hurt that Marder 3, and I can certainly hurt the bum of that Hetzer, assuming that I can hit it. No, that one missed as well, and that one might have hit, not sure. I think we have another one. That one probably missed. And he's moved. So one of those shots actually hit and did damage. There's some more. Hetzer's a very valuable target. I thought he was going to keep moving there, so we're going to keep trying to work this guy over as much as we can. And unlike the Matilda, we can actually hurt him from some angles. So there we go. There's kill number 3 picked up on the Hetzer. There's a Marder 38T, who it would also be quite nice to pick off. But there is still that Matilda around somewhere, and he is very, very dangerous. So this game should be pretty much won. Although, when there's a top-tier Matilda on the enemy team, you can never really write them off. So I'm just going to try and pick up what damage I can. Speaking of which, there's the T-18 artillery piece. Used to be a tank destroyer. It got rebalanced, and thank goodness for that. Can I pick up the kill on this guy? There we go. There's kill number 4. And that just leaves this Matilda. And that looks like shots into his bum, so we might be able to penetrate. Nah. The Matilda's got like 50-55 millimeters of armor on the rear. So it's difficult to penetrate that guy, even with bum shots, with my 64 penetration. Basically, if I get good shots into his flush bottom, then yes, I can hurt him. But that's about it. Aside from that, it's very difficult. I'm firing all these blind shots, but most of them are probably not doing a jot of damage. Probably just annoying him more than anything. But it's not as if the ammunition is expensive. What I should probably actually be doing here, rather than just blazing away, is moving forward, trying to spot the guy, and letting the slightly bigger guns on my team do something about him. Thinking primarily of the artillery here, because the rest of us have all got pretty weedy guns. Going for a flanking shot, but it bounces. And that really is going to be the theme of this engagement. Matilda's got good side armor, and of course it's got those tracks giving it spaced armor effectively over the side, so it's a really difficult target to penetrate. As we saw earlier on, in order to actually do damage to this guy, I really need his backside. And the last object of his desire has just died, so that leaves me in a rather awkward position. But artillery to the rescue there, coming in, laying down some damage, and the second artillery piece finishes him off. And there we go. That was the game. So that was one of the early outings I had in the Toldi 3. Let's go and have a look at how well I did. Well, at the time I was actually quite surprised to learn that that was an ace tanker for my Toldi, though of course it's on my second account. I don't have the ace tanker on my main account for this machine yet. Came second on our team in terms of experience, 747 damage done, which is the most damage of anyone on the team. The fire on one of those tanks did help out. 4 kills, 597 base experience. That kind of gives you a measure of how not very well people do in this machine. The 597 base experience was enough for an ace tanker. 38 shots fired, 25 hits, 15 penetrations for that damage count, most of which was from more than 300 meters. 3 hits received, 2 penetrations, 1 did not, 70 damage blocked by our armor, 7 enemy vehicles damaged, 4 destroyed, 130 assistance damage, and over 1.2 kilometers traveled. Profit, the ammunition, I might have fired a lot of it, but it's cheap and cheerful, so that led to a 13,189 net credit profit. Reasonable amount of experience as well, considering it was only a tier 3. So that actually ended up being a much better game than I was expecting at the time. Anyway, on to our second low tier gift tank gameplay. Here we are then with game number 2, and we're on the same map. This is Malinovka once again, this time driving the BT-7 artillery. There was a bit of confusion when this tank was first released, as it had artillery in the name and people assumed it was going to be artillery. In practice, it's actually a BT-7 light tank with a 76mm howitzer mounted in the turret. 76mm. Now, the previous game, the matchmaking was okay. It was a tier 3 light tank in a tier 4 game. This is a tier 3 light tank in a tier 5 game, but we're on Malinovka, and I have some binocular telescopes. With that in mind, I'm going to play the role of Senor Scoutington. Now my crew in this machine, if memory serves, is rather better. This is my LTTB crew, because of course the BT-7 is a premium tank. So you can put your Soviet light tank, regular light tank crews in the machine for no penalty. So I've just got myself into an advanced bush. I'm not going to fire on these guys. I'm just going to spot them all, light them up, and giggle as my team wrecks their faces. It is always fun when you can be an effective scout. And Malinovka is one of those maps on which you can still be an effective passive scout. A lot of the old bush locations you used to be able to use have rather been nerfed in the face. But this one on Malinovka still works, especially at low tier where very few people have the knowledge to, to move up and try and counter you. At higher tiers you often find there's a light tank in some of the bushes opposite, and everyone's view range is higher anyway, and it's all just a bit more awkward to achieve what you're after. So, not pulling the trigger here. I do not want to be spotted. I just want to sit here and spot all of these bad guys and giggle as my team blows them away. So far so good. The enemy team has lost 8 tanks. A reasonable number due to my spotting. Not all of them, but a reasonable number. We've even managed to get a Churchill right up into their base, which does amuse me, I must admit. And just tracking this Matilda, trying to request fire on him. And he's down to about 100 health, and there we go. T-28 finishes him off. Scoreline is 10-3. I mean, this is a very quick match. The game is essentially over. And at some point, I'm going to decide that spotting has kind of had its day, and I'm actually going to go and try and kill things. There we go. I fire the gun, but to no avail. However, that's artillery, so let's see if we can do something with this howitzer against the artillery piece. 60 hull damage, yay! Probably didn't hit him in the superstructure. Second shot, however, picks up the kill. And that's, of course, a tier 5 artillery that I just killed. So XP bonus for damaging and killing things that are higher tier than myself. So to all those people who say when you're bottom tier in games you can't do anything, nonsense. It's not always easy, but you certainly can achieve things. I mean, this is my tier 3 in a tier 5 game. You are, however, a bit more reliant on your team than you might otherwise be. And I do have a pretty good crew and some equipment on this tank. So, looking for Ram 2, who is probably up by the hill still, T-14 and the Panzer T-25. There's the T-14, he's hunkering down behind a building. Can't really say I blame him too much if I'm going to be honest. He's still getting shot though. So, yeah. Sucks to be him. And, ooh, our tier 5 artillery just absolutely wrecked him. Not worrying about capping here. I'm trying to get some more experience, some more damage down, some more spotting, a bit more of everything. I cannot remember off the top of my head if I have 6th Sense on this crew. I don't think that I do. And on we press. So Panzer T-25 and Ram 2 are the 2 remaining fellows. They can, of course, both still absolutely wreck me. Take that shot on the move, though, of course, this is a howitzer. Accurate, it is not. Especially not on the move. Our Panzer T-25 nails their Ram 2, and that just leaves the enemy Panzer T-25. And I'm just waiting till I've got a little bit more support coming with me. Some people have decided they need to cap, not really sure why. Panzer T-25 misses me. I actually managed to hit him on the move, which is nothing short of miraculous. I take a hit there, which makes me a bit sad. Can I pick up the kill? Nah. Our Panzer T-25 nails their Panzer T-25. And that was the game. Just a shade over 5 minutes and everything was done and dusted, but the game was pretty much decided after about 2 minutes. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the post-battle results for this one. Well, another ace tanker for me there, and the presence of the spotter ribbon and the scout and patrol duty medals, and having actually watched the game, of course, I imagine would give you all the information you need to know as to how I got that ace tanker. It certainly wasn't by doing a lot of damage. I came second on the team in terms of experience in my little tier 3 in a tier 5 world. Still managed 178 damage, which, well, it's not fantastic, but I wasn't really in it for the raw damage, and also managed to pick up a kill, of course. 893 base experience was pretty nice to get, however. Shout out to our Churchill, who managed over 1,000 damage and over 1,000 base experience, so well done to him. 8 shots fired, 3 hits, 3 penetrations, 178 damage, most of which from relatively long range. Received 1 hit that penetrated, surprise surprise, that T-25 didn't have any problems with our armour. Spotted 10 enemy vehicles, damaged 2, destroyed 1, and 2,220 assistance damage, which for a tier 3 tank is quite a lot. A 22,000 credit profit, which is always nice. It was a ×5 experience event at the time, so even with a standard account I still made over 5,000 XP for my crew. That would have been over 7,500 XP with a premium account. So there we go, a couple of low tier gift tank games for you. I try and vary things up a little bit. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, by all means feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel, and I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao ciao.